The emergency brake has been pulled. The gears have reversed. The external world has officially slowed to a crawl. In the first phase of this transmission, you were warned about the Great Halt. You were instructed to stop your expansion, put down your tools, and prepare for the auditor. Now the dust of that sudden stop has settled. The shock of the halt is over. You are no longer stopping. You have stopped. You have now crossed the threshold into the deep, prolonged reality of Saturn Retrograde. The unawakened world is currently panicking. They feel the heavy atmosphere pressing against their fragile egos. They are desperately trying to force the doors of opportunity open, scratching at the concrete, screaming at the algorithm to give them back their dopamine, their viral growth, and their fast money. They will spend the next 4.5 months exhausting themselves against an impenetrable brick wall. You will not join them in this kinetic panic. You are the architect. You understand that Saturn is not a punishment. Saturn is the ultimate load-bearing pillar of the universe. When Saturn turns retrograde, he invites the sovereign to leave the chaotic, noisy surface world and descend into the subterranean vault of their own empire. This is part 2 of the final reality check. In this transmission, we will dissect the exact anatomy of the next 135 days. We will decode how this massive gravitational shift will alter your biology, your psychology, and your physical business structures. We will reveal exactly what Saturn is destroying, and more importantly, the unbreakable power he intends to give you in return. Welcome to the Crucible. Lock the heavy iron doors behind you. We are going into the dark. To master a planetary transit, you must first understand its mathematical duration. Saturn retrograde is not a fleeting weekend transit. It is not a quick emotional eclipse. It is a massive structural season that lasts approximately 4.5 months, roughly 135 days of prolonged, unyielding gravitational pressure. This prolonged duration is intentional. The Matrix cannot test the integrity of your foundation in 24 hours. Anyone can pretend to be disciplined for a day. Anyone can fake structural integrity for a week. But no one can fake sovereignty for 135 days in the dark. This period is divided into 3 distinct phases of architectural testing. Phase 1. The withdrawal of the narcotic, weeks 1 to 4. This is the phase you are entering now. The Matrix abruptly cuts off your supply of easy external validation. The fast leads dry up. The easy praise stops. Projects that were moving at lightning speed suddenly hit bureaucratic red tape or inexplicable delays. This phase is designed to trigger your ego's withdrawal symptoms. Saturn is testing whether you are addicted to the applause or if you are committed to the work itself. Phase 2. The deep audit, weeks 5 to 12. This is the absolute bottom of the retrograde. The silence becomes deafening. During this massive middle phase, the structural flaws of your life will be illuminated by a harsh, sterile light. You will see the exact financial leaks in your business. You will see the parasitic nature of specific relationships. The Matrix will force you to confront the areas where you have been lazy, delusional, or heavily reliant on hope instead of strategy. Phase 3. The iron crystallization, weeks 13 to 18. As we approach the end of the retrograde in mid-November, the pressure reaches its maximum density. But if you have done the heavy lifting, if you have repaired the cracks and severed the dead weight, this is the phase where your new architecture crystallizes into titanium. The heaviness transforms from a burden into an anchor. You will feel an immense, cold, unbreakable power rising within your core. For the next 135 days, time is not your enemy. Time is the forge. We must address the biological reality of this transit. You are a physical vessel operating within a magnetic grid. When the heaviest, densest planet in the astrological system begins moving backward, your physical body and your central nervous system will register the shift. During Saturn retrograde, you will experience a profound, localized gravitational heaviness. You will wake up feeling physically heavier, as if the air itself has turned to water. You will experience sudden, unexplained drops in kinetic motivation. The desire to hustle, to jump on camera, or to perform for the crowd will completely evaporate. You will feel a deep, magnetic pull toward isolation. Do not misinterpret these biological signals as depression. Do not pathologize the retrograde. Your nervous system is simply down-regulating. It is attempting to match the slow, heavy, structural frequency of Saturn. The greatest damage you can do to your biology over the next 4 months is to fight this gravity with artificial stimulants. If you try to mask the heaviness with excessive caffeine, chaotic digital scrolling, or forced manic networking, you will fracture your adrenal system. You are trying to run a sprint in a deep-sea diving suit. You will break the machine. The psychological protocol. You must align your biology with the planet. Embody the archetype of the hermit. Increase the hours you sleep. Eliminate cheap dopamine. Stop seeking the quick thrill of digital notifications. Train your psychology to endure boredom. Boredom and silence are the exact coordinates where real architecture is built. When the kinetic noise stops, you are finally forced to sit in the quiet room of your own mind and look at the blueprints of your life. Allow yourself to become heavy. Allow yourself to become slow, deliberate, and fiercely guarded with your energy. Saturn is the planet of boundaries, limitation, and cold, hard reality. When he turns retrograde, he initiates the ultimate stress test of your human network. Over the next 4.5 months, you are going to witness the phenomenon of the Centrifuge Effect. As the gravitational pressure of your reality increases, the weak ties in your life will begin to snap under the tension. People who are not structurally aligned with your future will begin to act erratically. The business partner who lacks internal discipline will suddenly start missing deadlines, making excuses, and blaming the market. The client who secretly does not respect your authority will begin pushing your boundaries, demanding exceptions to your rules, and refusing to pay your newly established rates. The friends who fed on your kinetic energy during your expansion phase will suddenly become hostile or distant when you no longer have the bandwidth to entertain them. The unawakened mind panics when this happens. They try to play the diplomat. They lower their standards to keep the failing relationships intact. They compromise their iron architecture to accommodate the fragility of others. You are strictly forbidden from doing this. When Saturn exposes a parasite, you do not negotiate with it. You do not offer it therapy. You sever the connection. This retrograde is a massive energetic cleanup. Let the centrifuge spin. Let the people who are terrified of silence and heavy work filter themselves out of your matrix. Do not lower your drawbridge to save someone who is drowning in their own lack of discipline. By November, your inner circle will be vastly smaller, but the individuals who remain will be forged of solid titanium. They will be the load-bearing pillars of your future empire. Let us translate this esoteric gravity into the cold, hard mathematics of your business. During Saturn retrograde, external market expansion is severely penalized. If you attempt to aggressively scale into new, uncharted territories, launch massive, unverified product lines, or open untested franchise locations, Saturn will block the flow of capital. the ROI will plummet. This is not a time for marketing. This is a time for management. Your business is a machine. For the last 6 months, you have been running that machine at maximum RPM. You have pushed the engine to its limits to secure territory. But if you keep running a red-lining engine without stopping for maintenance, the pistons will melt. For the next 135 days, you must execute the B2B structural audit. 1. Halt external expansion. Freeze the aggressive outreach campaigns. Stop trying to conquer the horizon. 2. Audit the amortization. Look inward at the structures you already possess. Audit your equipment. Audit your real estate. Are your physical locations operating at maximum efficiency? Is your current client base fully optimized? The wealth of Saturn Retrograde is found in microscopic optimization. Find the leaks in your current funnel. Renegotiate the predatory vendor contracts. Cut the software subscriptions that no one uses. Shave the administrative fat off the bone. 3. Solidify the SOPs, standard operating procedures. Saturn rules rules. He rules systems, hierarchies, and step-by-step manuals. If your business currently relies on your sheer willpower and daily kinetic energy to survive, you do not own a business. You own a high-stress job. Use these 4 months to write the manuals, systematize the onboarding, automate the low-level tasks, build the structural walls so thick and so reliable that the business can run perfectly in the dark, even if you are not in the room. 4. Accumulate the capital reserve. Saturn rewards those who prepare for the winter. Over the next 135 days, divert your excess kinetic capital into static, heavy reserves. Build the war chest. When Saturn turns direct in November, the market will suddenly flood with kinetic opportunities. You want to be the architect sitting on a massive, heavy pile of reserved capital, ready to deploy it instantly, while your competitors are financially exhausted from fighting the retrograde. Why would the universe subject you to 135 days of isolation, heavy gravity, and relentless auditing? What is the purpose of this brutal crucible? The unawakened believe the universe is punishing them. The sovereign knows the universe is upgrading them. Saturn Retrograde offers you the single most valuable asset in human existence: the absolute, unshakable eradication of Imposter Syndrome. Imposter Syndrome only exists in individuals who have built their empires on luck, hype, manipulation, or the chaotic energy of an unearned viral moment. Deep in their subconscious, they know they skipped the stairs. They know they took the elevator. And because they skipped the heavy lifting, they live in constant, paralyzing terror that the Matrix will eventually find out they are a fraud and take it all away. Saturn Retrograde is the cure for this terror. When you submit to the retrograde, when you sit in the dark for 4 months and meticulously fix every crack in your foundation, when you fire the toxic partners and absorb the financial hit, when you wake up in the heavy gravity with zero motivation and zero applause, and you execute the boring, administrative, structural tasks anyway, you forge undeniable proof of your own competence. You no longer have to believe you are powerful. You will know it as a cold, mathematical fact. When you survive the audit of Saturn, you earn the right to look at your empire and say, "I built this. I tested every brick. I welded every joint in the dark. No one gave this to me, and therefore no market fluctuation, no algorithm change, and no external crisis can ever take it away." This is the ultimate gift of Saturn. He strips away your reliance on hope, and he replaces it with the cold, heavy titanium of absolute certainty. He turns you from a gambler into an architect. You now understand the timeline, the biology, the business mechanics, and the psychological goal of the transit. How do you wake up tomorrow? How do you conduct yourself on a daily basis while the gears of reality are turning backward? You must live by the daily protocol of the architect. Rule 1. The vow of silence. Stop announcing your plans. Saturn penalizes premature manifestation. Do not speak about the renovations you are making to your foundation. Do not seek validation for the toxic people you just cut out of your life. Operate with absolute, terrifying discretion. The heavy work must be done in the shadows. Rule 2. Worship the micro-action. Because the macro-expansion is blocked, you must shift your obsession to the micro-action. Fall in love with the boring details. Polish the stone. Edit the contract. Reread the fine print. Master the mundane. The sovereign knows that 1,000,000 perfectly executed micro-actions create an impenetrable macro structure. Rule 3. Embrace the word no. Saturn is the planet of restriction. You must become the embodiment of restriction. Say no to the frantic coffee meetings. Say no to the rushed collaborations. Say no to the clients who do not meet your exact structural requirements. Your time and your energy are now locked in a high-security vault. Access is strictly denied to anyone who does not possess the clearance codes. Rule 4. Endure the void. There will be days in August, September, and October where it feels like nothing is happening. Where the revenue is flat, the inbox is quiet, and the world has forgotten you exist. Do not break protocol. Do not launch a desperate, chaotic marketing campaign just to feel alive. Sit in the void. Let the concrete cure. Trust the heavy silence. The crucible has been set. The parameters are locked. For the next 135 days, you belong to the heavy gravity. You belong to the subterranean vault. Do not fight the auditor. Open your ledgers. Expose your own weaknesses before Saturn exposes them for you. Let the weak structures shatter. Let the parasites fall away. Endure the crushing pressure of the dark. Because I promise you this, if you have the discipline to execute this protocol, if you spend the next 4.5 months welding the iron, fixing the cracks, and building your internal empire in absolute, uncomplaining silence, when mid-November arrives, when Saturn finally exhausts his retrograde momentum, when the emergency brake is released, and the colossal gears of reality slam violently forward into direct motion, you will not just re-enter the market, you will dominate it. While the masses emerge from the retrograde exhausted, broken, and confused by their collapsing structures, you will rise from the vault as an impenetrable force of nature. You will possess a foundation that can withstand any storm, hold any amount of wealth, and carry the weight of a multi-generational empire. The external noise has stopped. The real work has finally begun. Descend into the vault. Lock the door. Start welding the iron.